I'm going to be giving my thoughts about the Marines in One Piece because I think it's time that I really dig deep, talk about how I feel about them. I talk a lot about the Straw Hats, talk a lot about pirates, about chapters, but I never really talk about the Marines. I think it's finally time we talk about them because narratively in the series, they are considered the good guys. They try and have justice, they try to protect people, have different ideals, and they try to protect citizens where there's different forms of corruption within the Marines, there's different ideals about justice, and there's more stuff in the manga about and in the anime about them, where something happened recently in Film Red that I want to talk about, I guess, which sparked my idea to make this video, because when you look at it, they are technically the antagonist of the story, even though they're considered the good guys, because they're opposing the Straw Hat Pirates, which are considered to be our protagonists of the stories. But this video will contain Film Red spoilers, and I will leave a timestamp on the screen. It's not like big spoilers or anything, but if you guys don't want to be spoiled because the movie just came out recently in America, I will leave that on the screen for you guys. But I'm talking about from Film Red, the scene with Uta, where her using her Devil powers happened to control the citizens, where the citizens, they were attacking the red hair pirates, and the Marines were kind of even said basically whatever it takes, even if it causes civilians to be hurt or be killed, we're going to capture and we're going to take Uta down, even killing her if we have to. Where Kizaru, he was willing to sacrifice civilians for the sake of killing Uta. Fujitora, we know how he is in the story, he didn't do much, where the red hair pirates, they stepped in and were protecting and stopping the citizens, were containing them, where one guy on the red hair pirate crew, he started getting a little annoyed, a little bit pissed, so he ended up charging up a laser from his mouth, kind of reminded me of a pacifist laser. Well, Ben Beckman ended up stopping him, and Kizaru even made mention how ironic it was for pirates who are considered to be the bad guys in the story are protecting citizens, but the Marines are the ones that are harming and hurting them. Where later Shanks, he unleashes his Conqueror's Haki, Kizaru was ready to throw down, where Fujitora was like, no, we're not going to do this, we don't want to have war because there are citizens here. So are the Marines just, are they bad good guys? Let's talk about it. If you guys enjoy regular anime content, make sure you guys like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you guys never miss out on a new video. I upload content all the time, so make sure you guys subscribe. But are the Marines really good guys? I mean, look at Doflamingo's quote from Marine 4, talking about pirates are evil, Marines are just. Basically, he says whoever wins in the end gets to make or gets to write the script of what justice actually is, which I look at as whoever is the strongest one at that time, whoever holds all the power because they have the most power, the most influence. They're the ones who can really write what justice is, because once during Marine 4 when Ace and Whitebeard were killed, the Marines were basically puffing their chests and they were ruthless. They were killing after they completed their objective. It was senseless fighting. The Marines were getting their own killed and killing pirates, and even though I know pirates are bad and you shouldn't let them get away, I still think it was senseless since they achieved their goal, where Kobe was like, yo, what the fluff are we doing? Right, he tried to intervene, then we had the whole Akainu thing, and Shanks stopping the war, etc. When you look at it, having all the power or one person having a lot of the, or too much power is a bad thing. Where if they were just, then why is there corruption in One Piece? I guess an example you could use Axon Morgan and how he ruled over the town with an iron fist. And also, I don't really like how the way they handle the Who's Who situation, because yes, I know the Gomu Gomu no Mi or the Hida Hida no Mi model model Nika is a very special devil and it's very powerful. But he was going against Shanks' crew. Now, he had one slip up and was in prison. But when you look at it, most people are losing to Shanks because Shanks' bounty at the time was around the billion berry mark. And Rob Lucci, Who's Who is compared, or Rob Lucci was compared to being on the level as him. Rob Lucci lost to Luffy, whose bounty was only 100 mil, and then 300 million after he beat him. Granted, bounties don't mean strength and all that, but when you look at it, the Straw Hat crew, all their bounties combined doesn't even equal to what Shanks's was, and that doesn't even include Ben Beckman, Lucky Root, Yasop, and all the members of his crew that Who's Who had to go against. So him escaping jail, becoming a pirate, not really giving a fluff about the Marines because they didn't give a fluff about him. I think Who's Who was justified in his actions. Then there's the Fleet Admiral, Kainu. He has some interesting ideas about justice. The whole Ohara situation, because Ohara was so close to figuring out what exactly happened in the Void Century. I mean, look at chapter 1066, how the Advanced Kingdom was going against the 20 allied nations, which is the world government now. And Ohara was destroyed because anyone who would want to, I guess, adopt the Advanced Kingdom's idea going forward, their ideals, the world government didn't want that. So Akainu, even after the scholars were all, in prison and stuff like that, he killed everybody that was from Ohara on board, just in case, so that there was no scholar on board that they snuck on. He killed innocents for what he believed his absolute sake of justice was. Now, were they just in doing that? I don't know, but I think that the Marines, for them saying that they're just and they're all this and all of that, for them to be hiding something for the Void Century, if you had nothing to hide, then you would say, if you were truly innocent, you wouldn't have anything to hide, in my opinion. There's Cypher Pulse, CP0, CP9. They're technically government dogs, but aren't official. So they do things that the government tells them to, but they aren't officially affiliated with the Marines, if that makes sense. But look at them. They tried to kidnap and kill Nico Robin just because she was a survivor of Ohara who knew about the Void Century. And now in the recent chapters, CP0, their goal or their mission is to kill Vegapunk, who has ties to Dragon. There's also what Sabo calls as the King, I guess you could say, Emu, how he's or they're, we don't really know what Emu is, but I'm gonna just say they're affiliated with the 5 elders, and how they took out Leloucha with that, I want to say ancient weapon. I'm really not sure what it is. Nuke the whole country, right? And could potentially take out Egghead Island because they know too much information, or Vegapunk does, about the Void Century. There's also the Celestial Dragons haven't enslaved people. For example, Hancock and Fisher Tiger believe that they're gods. They wiped out, well, we speculate they wiped out the Lunarians because the Lunarians were considered gods on the Grand Line, and now we know that Mary Joao is above the Grand Line. King and the Lunarians, they were experimented on. And one thing, if you guys did not know, Film Gold is my favorite One Piece movie. I think Tesoro is the best One Piece movie villain, and in terms of villains overall, I think he's top 3 in terms of how he's written, because of how his ties with the Celestial Dragon turned him to the monster that he was. When Stella, I think that's her name was, she was a slave, and Tesoro wanted to buy her because he wanted her to be free because he loved her. And the fact that he was poor and tried to do everything just for her to get sold as a slave, then he became a slave where he was branded, and he found out that money means everything, which is why he likes money now. And the whole who told you to laugh and all that stuff. Tesoro is just such a phenomenal villain, and the Celestial Dragons made him into that. There's also Shirahoshi, who's someone considered a princess, someone who has heavy influence in the story. Charles was about to take her just because he wanted her, where nobody was really going to intervene. I mean, somebody did, right? But still, the same with the Zoro interaction. Everybody bowed down to them just because they're Celestial Dragons. They have influence, but they're really nobodies, and they take what they want, and like I said, nobody oppresses them or stands against them. There's also Green Bull and Wano, and how he's closely affiliated with Akainu's ideas, where Kaido defeat, basically Green Bull was like, yo, Wano, Kaido was defeated because there's going to be different strong enemies coming. You should join the world government. No, you're going to join the world government, where, Yamato, Momonosuke, and the Kai's 9, they're like, why the fluff we do that? We don't want to join. Where, I understand what Green Bull is trying to say, but at the same time, you can't force people to do stuff they don't want to do. And obviously, it proved that strong opponents, it took Shanks to have him go back, but still, the world government tries to force people sometimes to do stuff that they don't really want to do. Now, I've done nothing but bash the world government, and I do want to talk about, there are some good Marines within the system. There's Garp, who was the hero of the Navy, the God Valley incident, and he didn't become an admiral because he would have to serve directly under the Celestial Dragons. There's Sengoku, the whole God Valley thing as well, and he's respected by a lot of Marines, and he respects red-haired Shanks. There's also Smoker and Taishigi there, how they interacted with the Straw Hats in Alabasta. Punk Hazard with the kids, how the kids, they were considered lost at sea when they really wasn't, and people ended up giving up on them, where the kids were scared to go with the world government because they're like, yo, we don't want the same thing to happen again. But we know that Smoker and Taishigi are good. Also Kobe and Drake, they fight for their own ideals. trying to change the world government. There's also Aokiji and Fujitora, how Aokiji, he froze Saul, he didn't kidnap Nico Robin. There's Fujitora, who stood against Akainu's ideals in Dressrosa. You know, he likes Luffy, and he apologized, bowed down, you know, for their action with the whole warlord system. So when you look at the Marine system, there's a lot of good and a lot of bad ones. Certain people, just because they're really strong, they shouldn't necessarily be empowered. Like, I personally think Aokiji would have made a better fleet admiral, but it is what it is. He lost. It's the One Piece story. And Akainu, even though he has a strong sense of justice, that's it. Sometimes just because your justice or your sense of justice is strong does not necessarily mean that your actions are right. Like I said, there are some good, some bad. And I can't wait for the final war to happen, because we'll see, you know, if Akainu, Imu, who all gets defeated, who all will rise to power, and who will lead the government down a better path. Is the Navy just? Are the Marines good bad guys? Let me know how you guys feel about that in the comment section below. Honestly, I don't know what I'm naming the video, right? So fluff it. We're just rocking with it. But thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Also hit the notification bell so you guys never saw a new video from me. Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, and TikTok is on the screen and in the description below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and don't forget to unleash your potential.